Copy and work.
When you're done with that, you can stow the SPIDs in the crew lock bag. Then you're going to translate over to the VTEB bag for the vent tool setup.
Copy.
Kjell Lindgren in the final steps of his work to close a pair of quick disconnects with a jumper cable to isolate the prime and backup cooling systems on the port truss of the International Space Station. Kjell Lindgren, extravehicular crew member number 1, and Scott Kelly, extravehicular crew member number 2 for today's spacewalk, moving in separate paths. Kjell Lindgren on one section of the port truss of the International Space Station, retrieving a series of tools called vent tools for the ammonia system on the International Space Station. These tools will be inserted at a vent port to enable residually trapped ammonia. Once the vent panel is configured properly, the early external thermal control system, or the backup system for the cooling of the station, will be topped off, about a 20-minute procedure. But first, Scott Kelly must configure the ammonia tank assembly to begin that activity.
L bracket to handrail 5321. I'm going to read both of you through the big picture on the fill once Kjell is in position and complete with his steps. So big picture for both of you. Our next step is the fill. And so, Scott, I have a few steps for you to get that valve ready for a quick close. Does that all make sense?
Yes. Okay, thermal motor booty is removed from the QD extender at M2.
Okay, Kjell, I copy that.
That is the backup radiator that was initially used to dispel heat from the integrated electronics assembly and all of its associated systems in the very early neophyte days of the International Space Station.
Hey, Scott, we're just talking about it, and hopefully this isn't too late for you, but if that wire tie doesn't look like it wants to come off, you could leave it on the pit pin.
3 hours and 48 minutes into the spacewalk. Kjell Lindgren and Scott Kelly are moving along very nicely with the timeline, having started their spacewalk at 5:22 a.m. Central Time this morning.
Okay, and we're expecting 45 to 50 turns.
4, 5.
Everything going well. The trailing thermal control radiator folding up like an accordion, as planned.
Looks like it's coming down nicely.
We concur. When you get there, you're going to...
The anti-rotation... sorry, go ahead.
Just for Scott, when you get there, you're going to install the swing arm whiff into the Terra with the arm pointing zenith, black on back, and pull twist test.
Okay, Zenith, got it.
This is Mission Control Houston approaching the 4-hour mark into today's spacewalk. The latest task now complete, that being the retraction of the trailing thermal control radiator, the backup radiator for the port truss cooling system.